Amazing to see you all again to this community of women in research. I can see you already started, but please, those who have not, write your name and institution and your research area as well in the chat so everybody can get to know each other a little bit. And also very important, if you want to listen in French, then click the interpretation button at the bottom left of your screen and then select Start. But let me introduce Monique, who will introduce or who will translate to you in French.
Bonjour à tout le monde et bienvenue à cette nouvelle session. Alors, en attendant que tout le monde puisse nous rejoindre, nous demandons de pouvoir bien vous présenter avant de vous introduire au niveau de toute la communauté. Alors, vous allez peut-être mettre dans le chat votre nom, votre institution et votre domaine de recherche pour que tout le monde puisse se connaître, pour que tout le monde puisse apprendre à voir les différents domaines qui pourraient nous intéresser à de futures collaborations. Il y a également une traduction qui sera disponible. Alors, si vous souhaitez participer à la réunion en français, vous pouvez rejoindre la salle française ou alors, si vous voulez rester dans la salle anglaise, vous pourrez rester sur cette plateforme. Merci.
Thank you so much, Monique. I mean, it's really interesting. I'm just reading through everybody's introductions coming in, and it's super interesting. Anyway, my name is Vibeke Quaid. I'm Senior Communications Consultant from Danida Fellowship Center, which is an institution in Denmark under the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And we administer the research funding between Danish universities and researchers in Denmark and their partners in the Global South. We are coordinating this Lead and Learn initiative together with Mavaso Institute under the More Women in Research. And I'm here with Naliaka, my good colleague from Mavaso Institute, for the first community-led session that we are going to have today.
Yes, hi everyone. Good to see you. Thanks for coming back continually. My name is, as Vibeke said, is Naliaka Odara, and I'm the comms lead at the Mawazo Institute. The Mawazo Institute is an African woman-led initiative organization that supports early career African women researchers pursuing their PhDs with big ideas to turn research into impact. So as Vibeke said, this is our first community-led session, and we're super excited about it as part of our Learn and Lead Together initiative. So our community-led sessions essentially serve two purposes. The first is to ensure that beyond the WhatsApp group and the learning modules, we have a space to connect with each other as a community of women researchers. And the second is to ensure that the Learn and Lead Together initiative actually covers topics that are relevant to the members of our community. So as such, we noticed that the topics of mental health and work-life balance came up frequently in our communities, including during our last live session. And as we all know, our general well-being has a direct impact to our work life, including being able to attract funding or any other opportunities. So today, in a session facilitated by two of our community members, we want to cover those topics and enter into a space of sharing and learning together. So very soon, Vibeke and I will leave this stage and welcome two community members, Judith Awakorach from Gulu University in Uganda, and Dr. Annabelle Banda, who is the director of the Wildlife Conservation and Research Center at Gwanda State University in Zimbabwe. And they will be facilitating today's session. But first, let's check back in with Vibeke and see, is there anything else we need to add?
Yeah, important issues here. We have the house rules. So, I mean, you know them already, but still, let's just go through them. Please keep the speaker's view enabled so you can see the spotlighted speakers. Remain muted while others are speaking and presenting. And please also keep your camera on if connectivity allows it so we can all see each other. Use the chat, please, to ask questions throughout, and we will gather them by the end. If you experience technical issues, please write to Elena here in the chat here we have together. And again, if you are French speaking, Then you can listen to the session in French by clicking the button in interpretation at the bottom left of your screen and then click start. Naliaka?
So as I mentioned earlier, we have two community members who are facilitating today's session, Judith Awakorach and Dr. Annabelle Banda. And what will happen is they'll both present and each facilitate a session of about 20 minutes. And we'll also have a Q&A session together of about 15 minutes before we close out in about an hour and a half to 2 hours. So please keep sharing your questions as we go along. Make sure that you are participating and engaging with both facilitators. And we'll start with Judith, who is a lecturer at the Department of Accounting and Finance with research supervision roles at Gulu University. She doubles as a PhD candidate at Gulu University and a guest student at University of Copenhagen, Denmark. Her research title is Green Finance Incentives and Sustainable Livelihood of Green Charcoal Producers in Uganda. So let's get started with the community session. Judith, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Naliaka, Rebecca, and the team from DFC and Mawazo and from elsewhere. Good afternoon, good evening to everyone. I've been ably introduced by Naliaka. I'll just go straight to my presentation, and please allow me share my screen. Okay. I hope you're able to see my screen. Hello, everyone.
Yes.
Yes, we can see your, I can see your screen.
Okay. I'll share with you the lived experience of a woman researcher. And my presentation begins with this beautiful picture that you're seeing of a woman. And in this picture, we see a woman with her hands raised. Her baby is breastfeeding. She is crying. And her kiosk on which she sustains her livelihood has been picked away by the city authorities. And you can see on her kiosk, it is written Mama Ruth. She's mourning. She has to breastfeed. She's crying. Her hands are raised and she's multitasking at this point in time. And this story tells the journey of a woman researcher, especially if the journey takes you through the PhD. My lived experience starts with the motivation. Why should a woman do a PhD and go for research, and yet they are overwhelmed with a number of roles in their lives? And yet in leadership, especially in the academic institution, you find women are so few. So this need drove me to generate a concept on the topic, which has already been ably said, green finance incentives and sustainable livelihood of green charcoal producers in Uganda. And this concept led me into winning the Danida Fellowship Center funding. And there I went into proposal development and then defended it. I went through the ethical clearance. I went through field work and analysis and through publication and thesis writing where I am. And then other processes continue. But this has not been an easy journey for an African woman, I would say. a lot of multitasking has been carried on in a way that I have been a student in this university. At the same time, I'm a mother to children, 4 children, just like that mama is breastfeeding her child right there. I have been a wife, carrying chores of in-laws, relatives, and friends in the community. I'm an employee taking on lectures, sometimes supervising master's students and graduate students. And then other researches are being carried on at the same time. So this is the plight of an African woman. I don't know, or any woman in this globe, whether South or North. You realize that we go through series of challenges or multitasking. You have this on your table, you have your cooking roles, you have the student roles, you have the roles of a researcher, you need to publish, you need promotion, you need everything at your table. So this has been an experience that I will live to tell. It made me to conclude that, well, I did my undergraduate, I did my master's, but I thought, okay, that was not yet studies, right? The real study is here. You don't know how the sun sets, how the sun rises. The supervisor is on your desk. The lectures are calling and everything is calling. But then the world requires a woman researcher out there that is astonishing and outstanding. So this has been an amazing journey to me. And then I realized that this was worth sharing to our community, because every woman has a journey in their research. And then I also realized that for you to be recognized as a researcher, then you have to go through all these skills and multitasking, especially those of us who join the journey in our middle age, not as a beginning job for that matter. So my question to you, as the community, those who are already in their postdoc, those that are already ahead, that are already in the journey, what is your story? Because I realize that it takes resilience, it takes a woman researcher for you to complete this journey. Thank you so much for listening to me. And with that, I will invite the next speaker to bring on what can we do when faced, when overwhelmed, when burdened with a lot of challenges as a woman researcher from this lived experience. So the next speaker is none other than Dr. Annabel from Zimbabwe, a conservation researcher, academic leader, and mentor. Her work demonstrates transformative power of science in addressing health challenges. And she's the director of a wildlife conservation and a research center at Gwanda State University. She has published a number of articles in peer-reviewed journals, and today she presents what a woman would console herself with in the names of the work-life balance. Dr. Banda, you're most welcome to speak to our community. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Judith. And I would like to acknowledge all my predecessors and everyone else who has been able to join today's presentation. First and for all, I would like to know how you're feeling today. Just one word to describe your feeling today, how you're feeling today. And Elena is going to share the Mentimeter for that.
Thank you so much, Dr. Annabel. I've shared in the chat just right now a link that you can click. We've been doing this also in the other sessions, so you know how it works. You have the link over there, you click in, and you let us know how you're feeling today. Maybe while you're answering to the question, think of yourself as a woman researcher. I will soon share the screen, and I will just give you a little bit of time to open the Mentimeter. Let me know if you have any troubles in Open It. I'll send the link again. I can see that something is already coming up. So let me share my screen. Tired, confused. So I can see mostly negative feelings, unluckily, but let's not ignore also people who actually are saying that they feel happy and good, relieved, eager, excited. So it's contrasting feelings, and maybe that reflects actually a little bit how we feel in different days, right? We do not always feel happy, and we do not always feel stressed or struggling. And I think this is basically what Dr. Annabel is gonna talk us through us a little bit, because as humans we all have different feelings, and as women researchers, how do we cope with especially the feelings of stress and feeling overwhelmed, which I see is probably the most common, as it is the biggest word that I can see here in the screen. So let's reflect a little bit on that. Dr. Annabel, I'll give the floor back to you.
Thank you so much, Elena. So it's very common, especially for women researchers, to feel overwhelmed, as you noted when you were answering to the Mentimeter. But we have some who are very happy and excited. It's normal, but most of these are mental healthy issues that comes into play. So allow me to take you through my presentation, just a few slides that are going to be shared by Elena, where we dive in on mental health stressors and how best we can work. So mostly the key stressors that exist among us women researchers have to do with, for instance, heavy loads, whereby some of the laws that we have in our respective places, you are required to teach, you are required to attend some meetings, you are required to do innovation, to do research. So at the end of the day, it becomes too much on you. Gender bias and discrimination. You find that in some instances where males were against women being researchers or being in the limelight, and sometimes, which I find it so awkward, you find that some females amongst ourselves, they are also against another female, which is not a usual expectation, because we'll be expecting that another female would hold another female's hand. Job insecurity and funding pressures. So some of the key stressors is having job insecurity. Where you are, you find that no, the money that I'm getting in order to invest is not enough, or maybe I'm not yet tenured. How else is taking time for me to be able to be tenured when you are in an academic institution? As well as funding. It takes time for one to have maybe a grant if you are into academia, for instance, so that those funders, they have faith in you or ability to give you their money. So it becomes a stress as well. Limited mentorship. I remember when I joined academia, I did not receive any mentorship, but now I'm offering mentorship because I have experienced the path, having been 7 years into academia, where I was like, no, I can pull along those young researchers as well. So lack of institutional support. In most cases in these institutions, like in academia, what a man can do, a woman can do. And we find that we're not involved in the policies and all that stuff. And at the end of the day, we find we don't have that support as women. And the ability to balance the work-life balance, whereby socially, you find you are supposed to be a wife, you're supposed to take care of the kids. So these are some of the stressors that we come across as women researchers. So what are the effects of poor mental health? You find that there's a physical effects or impacts, social and personal life, and occupational impact. For physical, you can end up developing some chronic stress where you can develop cardiovascular diseases, high blood pressure, heart diseases, and some can experience reproductive problems where they develop some fibroids, for instance, having headaches, migraines, back pains and neck pains, and even having irregularities when it comes to the digestion, because when you are stressed, mostly the digestive system is going to be affected. And then when we look at socially, you find yourself sometimes shouting, speaking up, or maybe being easily irritated, having those strains with your family, even at work. You are unable to answer very well when you're asked the questions. And in some cases, some people, they ended up going to a corner where they isolate themselves, and as well socially they are no longer going to those functions where you're supposed to relieve the pressure. You find you're socially withdrawn. And then occupationally, this can result in poor performance of your work. You're no longer meeting up targets as a result. And also, you find in progression, going from being going to a senior position, you find yourself is taking too slow because mentally you're not that stable. And in some cases, we have situations where people are leaving our in jobs, they are leaving, going elsewhere, and you are remaining behind. Sometimes that demoralizes you. I remember at some point, my friend left in around 2020. She left because here she was here just temporarily, and then I had another friend, and then another friend, and then now I said to myself, I'm not going to have any friend at work because I was like, no, I cannot keep people, you attach to someone, then they leave. So it was really stressing me as a result. So some of these effects, they are signs of poor mental health that people exhibit. What are the possible strategies or interventions that as women researchers we can dive into or we can do? You realize that in most cases, I remember as well when I was starting my lectureship, when documents were being shared, those policies being shared, some of us, we were not reading them. And then when you mature in the job 5 years after, you realize that I actually seconded this policy, but it has nothing to do with me. Women, we are not being actively involved in policies in our respective places. Let's make an active presence when policies are being made and we see that our grievances or our problems are taken into board. For instance, when it comes to pregnancy, when it comes to menstrual cycle, how are those things being included into policy? And then let's make sure that we have equitable workload distribution. So in some cases, you find that you are given 4 lectures or 4 courses, and somebody else is given 2, somebody has 3. At the end of the day, make sure when a timetable is being done or when courses are being given, you are present. You make sure you have an equal share with others. Mentorship and peer networking. Like now, we are in this group where the Danida were able to prepare for us this WhatsApp group where opportunities are being shared. Let's make sure we get into such networks and we know what is happening. And also, if ever there are people who have gone through the path, let's avail ourselves. If you need mentorship, can I be mentored? Can I be your mentee so that you can be taken through? Especially research is not that easy. And then addressing bias and inclusive culture. So make sure these are some of the strategies whereby our culture mostly will be saying women into research or women into science, for instance. Our culture is not yet up to date, but it's up to us to remove that bias, to make sure that the culture and even males and other females accept that they are women researchers. When I'm at home and I'm saying I'm tired, I cannot maybe wash plates or wash clothes, they should understand. And then access to mental health support. There are places where you can get this support. If you feel like, no, I cannot meet my target, can you make sure you go to such places where you can get support? So now I've thank you. I've come to the end of my presentation. Then I have a question. I have a question for you. So based on your lived experiences as a woman researcher, what strategies did you employ, not mentioning the one that I've already mentioned, to minimize mental health issues? Somebody, you can raise your hand if you've got an answer to that. You think, how best did you go about it? Like myself, I can give another example whereby when I felt that I was the only female in a department of about 9 males, and I was being frustrated because males was like, okay, this only female. So I ended up joining Zimbabwe Young Academy of Sciences. I put my energy elsewhere until I made sure that I had to come back to work and start performing. And that actually helped me a lot to connect outside. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Banda. We could give her cheers, hands up. Thank you, those online. We have two questions to respond to besides other important experiences that you would like to share. My question was, what is your experience as a woman researcher? And then Dr. Banda says, what is your lived experience and what strategies did you employ? I think this can stir up a discussion. We will be happy to listen to our community. Thank you. You can raise your hands or put in a chat, and then we shall allow you to speak. Thank you. Anyone coming first? I can see Margaret James. Your hands are up. Unmute and speak.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, dear.
Wow. So I had a very weird experience. Thank you for sharing everybody and every message that I'm reading. I'm just reminded. During my second year of my PhD, I had just gone off for maternity leave. And before I left, I had submitted a paper for publication, for consideration in a journal. So after I delivered, I hadn't, my hormones hadn't settled down and everything. I got a very long reply from the journal, and immediately I was given like 10 days, 10 working days to work on so many corrections, some of them which wanted me to even go back to the lab. And I remember at that point, I actually felt like I felt so down that I felt what depression was at that instant. I had never thought what depression feels like, but that was the first time I felt it. And after that, I just told my husband, I feel like I don't want any responsibility from anybody. I don't want anybody to expect anything from me. I mean, I feel like quitting PhD so that nobody expects anything from me at this point. But I remember at that point, he was like, okay, we need to take a walk. He just took the baby. We walked around. The sun was up. It was like, you need the sun. This feels like depression. So we walked around. We just went to a restaurant and sat down. He ordered some, nice foods and everything. And after all that and talking about anything else that was not even related to the paper, I came back and I told myself, actually, if I beat myself up, there's nothing that will change. So the only thing is, out of the 10 days, I will take my time every day to do something about the replies and everything I can do. And whatever I do, that will be enough for that day. And I will not beat myself up for that. So by the end of the 10 days, I actually came up with a solution and I responded. But I felt like the biggest thing that actually helped me was the exposure to just nature, to the sun, and also talking to someone about it, and taking a break and seeing that it's never that serious. It is okay to take it serious, but it's not a matter of life and death, actually, because at that point, that's what it felt like. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Margaret. I can see Issa's hand is also up. Issa, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Whatever I have heard here, as nearby we are in Nepal, facing similar kind of problem. I would like to explain something, but not during my, like, I just get admission in PhD in USA, Westcliff University in California. But I have the same experience when I was a student of master's. During that time, we have a very disaster earthquake in Nepal. And similar, at the same time, I was deliver my baby and he was just 5 months. During that period, whatever I have earned and learned from my university, that is Kathmandu University, and I'm a student of education leadership. So during that motherhood time, I lost my house, I lost my study. That stress brought me, still I have issue of breathing, and the chronic asthma. And that was a severe disaster during that time in Nepal. But in job sharing, taking help from other was nearly happen. It is very difficult to get help. So as a woman, as a mother, it is very difficult to participate and with enthusiasm to do research, because that 2 years put me back like 4 years back, which I was not thinking in PhD. Now my son is grown up, he's 11 years old, but I have that stress. Because of that stress, I'm suffering from chronic asthma. So I'm thinking, like, why not government or the university give little access to the females? Because female are, I found, they are very conscious, they are very intelligent. That's why they are able to take care of home, study, children, society, lot of things in our context, as well as I understand the other females do too. So little flexibility for the women, because they are nesting, they are taking care of society, they are also studying, they are very enthusiasm in workplace. So why not little flexible time for them, so that they will not go through this stress level? They can enjoy their motherhood, they can enjoy the professionalism, they can enjoy their study and research. So I'm very I get touched by the presentation from the different experts. Really very thankful to put these things in this platform. So thank you so much for giving me opportunity. I just share about what I suffered from and what I am looking in future, being a student, as a researcher as well. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, Elsa. I have two more hands. I have a question in the Q&A, but I'll give Naomi and Pinkle to speak. Please, then we can go to the Q&A. There is a question there. So Naomi, you'll go first and then Pinky later. Thank you.
Hello, ladies. Hello, ladies. Can you hear me?
Hello, you are loud and clear.
Yes, my name is Dr. Naomi, and I graduated with my PhD in 2024. It was a serious, tough journey. I started in my coursework started in 2019, and I finished. But come 2020, it was COVID time, and that time I lost my mother during the time when I've just started doing my research. And come 2022, I lost my mother-in-law. come 2023, I lost my father, my own dad. So during the entire study of the 6 years, and especially the data collection, the research period, it was really tough. Losing parents, and they all were dying on my hands. I was a personal direct caregiver. And at some point, I got a burnout. And I told my supervisors that I think I'm not going to make it to finish this thing. So I think I'll stall for now until I feel like my mental status are okay. But my supervisor kept encouraging me and telling me, no, we will have one-on-one supervision, like after every 1 day, even during the preparation for the burials, and even going to visit my sick parents who are dying of COVID. And I still made it, and I finished. And at one point, I was waking up in the morning to go for a meeting. And at some point, I was standing from my bed and sitting down, and I can't feel myself sitting. And I told my husband, I think I'm sick. I try to stand, I fall, and I fall back. Then I told him, now I think we need to go to hospital because I think I'm not well. So when we got to hospital, I was vomiting, and I couldn't tell what was the problem. Then they told me it was something to do with vertigo that is brought about by too much stress. And so I was admitted for a whole week. And this time my dad had just left hospital the previous week. Same hospital, same doctors. So by the time I'm leaving hospital, the following week, my dad passes on. This time I can't even walk because I don't have, those who know vertigo, you don't have balance. So I have to be held to go and view my dad, to go for the funeral. But my professors were right there with me, and they encouraged me, and they told me, you are going to make it. In between, I also had so many marital issues. I didn't have a job, and I didn't have a job, a real good job that I could say I was making money. So it was really tough. By God's grace, I made it within 6 years, and I graduated. So it is possible to get burnouts and to get those vertigos and all those are mental issues. So, but with people who are encouraging you, and especially your supervisors, I think it works better because you wouldn't rely on your family members or your friends because everyone is going through their own issues. So my strong pillars were my supervisors. And for that, I have always been very grateful. I actually was the only lady in my class of 2019 who graduated. I was the only lady who graduated that class. And so for that, I know everyone can make it. Just tell yourself that every day you give yourself 2 hours and you'll do something. Every day, give yourself 2 hours for your research and you will make it. Thank you so much. And I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
So much, Naomi, for that life-touching story of your journey. Now, from this experience, we can see what it means to be a woman researcher and our lived experiences. 2 more hands are up. I'll give Pinky an opportunity, then I'll go to the Q&A before maybe we can take up Martha. Pinky, the floor is yours. Let's be brief and have these touching stories shared to encourage another woman in this community. Thank you.
Hello, am I clear?
Yes, you are.
Okay, thanks a lot for the opportunity. I'll try to be very short, though I have a mouthful to say. My name is Pinky. I'm from Botswana. Currently, I'm living in Brazil, where I'm studying for my PhD in demography. I'm quite far away from home, and I'm raising my 5-year-old twin boys on my own and in a foreign country. You can imagine the pressure that I go through daily. And for the fact that Brazil is a Portuguese-speaking nation and I'm from English-speaking nation, it's double more the problem. So I'm trying to balance the intense demands of my doctoral research, and I'm also trying to be a full-time mother. And most of the time I'm quite exhausted, and I feel so sad instead of being happy that I got this kind of an opportunity. It's not really easy. And I carry a lot of pressure also for the fact that I'm a government employee back home. I work for the government of Botswana, but I've been given a shorter period to complete my PhD studies, or else I lose my job. You can imagine the stress that I go through. I ask myself, did I make the right choice of coming here? Am I doing a good investment on myself? And also, the disattachment from family, would I be able to find the father of my kids still waiting for me? And also the societal pressures that were mentioned, the judgment that we get from other women and the African society in general. And for the fact that I'm living with a disability. All my academic work, I've been using only one eye. My other eye is artificial. And I feel like I'm not supported enough. The support that I'm getting is not enough, really. And to write papers, my supervisor is waiting for me to submit, and I'm going through all this confusion in my head also. It's kicking more pressure on myself. And all those mentioned characteristics of having stress that can lead to even the physical pain, like the neck pains, the migraines. I'm going through all that. But to get the courageous words from the previous speakers that, this is possible, I still have that positive mindset that, and at the end of the day, this is the good investment that I'm making for myself, for my family, and for Africa in overall. So this platform is very good, and it's giving me positive, I have to keep on going on. At the end of the day, there's the light at the end of the tunnel. Thank you very much for this opportunity. And as a young researcher, I think I need more of these platforms to get the encouragement and also the motivation that it is possible, and we have to support each other as women. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pinky, for that life-touching story of a lived experience. These stories are so touching. You can imagine we all have commonalities and things that we go through, but the word is resilience and never quit. Be there. The world needs this, and we have to be among the few percentage of women researchers being counted out there. Now from the Q&A, we have Maimona with this question saying that, thank you for the presentation. How should one behave with a manager who doesn't hesitate to call his employee after 8 p.m. and even on Sundays? That is yet another challenge, as we said, that you are a worker, you are a wife, you are a researcher, and so many things that touches the life of a woman researcher. Dr. Banda, probably you could speak to that question. Thank you.
An interesting one. And that's putting me on the spot because I'm the director. I have people under me. The other way is you can actually tell the director that, no, I don't like you calling me at these odd hours or during weekends because of this and that and that. You give them the reasons. But if they persist doing so, then you have to go to somebody maybe a bit superior and you air out your grievances. You should not be afraid to speak out, because I know it works sometimes as women. We shy away and think, no, this is a manager, maybe they'll be against me or something. But you should tell them, right? If they don't agree, then find somebody superior to solve that issue.
Thank you, Dr. Banda. I hope we have been able to speak to Maimona. I know that we all go through series of interesting challenges. And then I realized that the story of another woman gives strength to another to carry on with their research journey. So I pray that all of us that are on this platform, we shall be a shoulder that another woman can lean on. And we have to be very courageous, never to quit at all, and to continue. These stories are so touching. I know that we have many more, but probably for this session, this could take us through. I know we will get opportunities to share. Maybe we will also share our numbers, contacts, Dr. Banda, on the WhatsApp, so that other people can speak to, they can contact to. When you need a shoulder to lean on, we shall be able to speak out. I can see Mary Tumusime. Let me give you a chance. Probably you'll be our last speaker here. Thank you. Mary, the floor is yours. Unmute.
Yes, hi. I hope you can hear me now.
Yes,
I'm Mary Tumushime. I'm from Uganda. I live and work in Zimbabwe in public health research. So I had shared a link to a blog story that I wrote about this very topic, work-life balance and burnout. I myself felt I went through a burnout a few years ago in my first year of my PhD, and I was working part-time at the same time. I had recently lost my sister a few months before starting, and I think I really didn't let myself grieve. And I think the pressure of doing school and work was quite difficult. And what helped me was taking time off, which was allowed in my program. So I took 12 months off. Later on, I took more time off. And it was helpful because it didn't take away time from my registration. So as I think about practical ways to navigate these things, I recommend taking time out. It's not a failure. It can really be restorative to you and refreshing. I also sought some counseling services from my school online and saw someone in person as well. And I really recommend those kinds of services. Also, I throughout my school, I would tell my mom. I'm really close with my mom. I'd just tell her how everything was going, and when I submitted a paper, an abstract, or simply had a supervision meeting or something, she'd take me out for lunch. So I recommend celebrating the small milestones and taking breaks. So thank you, Elena, and for posting the link again for me. Thanks everyone for sharing, and thank you, Vibeke, for encouraging me to say something, and Elena too. I hope you do read the article, and there are several other things on the website that everyone is welcome to read and share. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mary, for sharing a blog and that experience also. There is one person here in the chat room who says that that is Lee Ann Niels. I'm feeling super encouraged by all the stories shared, even though I felt overwhelmed today. My 25 years marriage ended during my master's studies, and I'm struggling to focus on PhD proposal stage. Not sure if I should continue on this journey. If it's worth it is at this point, on the other hand, I feel like I need to go on so that women and girls in my community can be encouraged, since education is not prioritized where I come from. Dearly, from our experience, I would say all of us have had a chunk of something, like in one way or the other. I remember when I went for my study stay in Denmark, I lost my sister and buried a week. It's like I carried her along. When I was in office, I had memories of her, but I had to get on. So that means that in this journey, things hit us left and right, but the word I said is resilient. You have to stand tall and know from this community that, a woman researcher is not a bed of roses, it is something else. Those that have moved through, those have sailed through, it was a journey and they have a story to tell. You'll be one of our pillars, you'll be one of our strength and testimonies we can give because of this community. So I encourage you to find strength and keep on, and I pray that at a certain point in time on this platform, we shall celebrate you. So I want to thank everyone for your life-touching stories. I think for me, I have learned a lot from you, and I know we still have a lot to learn from this community. And I don't know if Banda has a concluding remark to say so that we can hand over to Naliaka and Vibeka to conclude our session. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so much, Judith. I just want to add that let's not shine away from reproduction, those who can. We need those beautiful genes that we have. I know the hormonal imbalance, at some point you forget. I remember myself asking, am I okay after giving birth? Because I was so forgetful. I was something else. But now she's 3 years old. I'm coming back and becoming a good researcher as well. So do not shy away to reproduction. Let's carry our burdens also as mothers. Thank you.
Hey, I'll hand over to Naliaka and Vibeka. Thank you.
Thank you so much to both of you. I mean, so amazing. I hardly know what to say because it's so touching to hear both from Dr. Judy and Dr. Annabelle and from everybody else. And it really shows that a space like this is needed to share the stories, because it's, as Judy is saying, and also Dr. Banda, that it gives strength to everybody to know that you are not alone. So thank you so much for joining and sharing. But I would also like to mention that, these issues are not only something that an individual should carry. These are structural issues, It's something that is at a bigger scale than an individual woman or an individual woman researcher to kind of struggle with. And we had, when we started the More Women in Research community, it was with 15 women that got together and wrote a manifesto. And this manifesto is geared or targeting 8 different stakeholder groups. And it gives recommendations to how to tackle some of these issues and bring it to the next level, to the stakeholders that may be able to be part of taking care of it. So I don't know, Elena, maybe you will send the link, and we will also send it in the WhatsApp group, the manifesto, and you might be able to find, inspiration to how to try and tackle the issues in a way where you're not struggling with it yourself. Take it to the next level, to the universities, to the women groups that you are in, maybe even to government, to private sectors, and to some of us, the donors and the organizations that we represent. Well, so thank you so much, everybody, for that. We will have community sessions after each module this year. We have 2 more modules, Owning Your Spotlight and mentorship, which is also part of tackling what we've been speaking about today. But let me leave it to Naliaka to speak about our next module that's taking place on the 3rd of June.
Thanks, Vibeke, and as you said, thank you so much to Dr. Annabel and to Judith for facilitating, and then also for everybody coming to share openly and honestly. And as Vibeke said, this conversation doesn't have to end here; it can actually be mobilized forward, and we're the ones who can mobilize. We each have more power than we know, and so if we come together and utilize what small powers we have in our own spaces, including that of supporting each other, then I think we'll begin to see some real change and movement. In that vein, kind of, our next module is called Owning Your Spotlight. And our first live session for it is on Wednesday, 3rd June. So please save that in your calendars, but I know you'll also get a reminder invitation. The module looks briefly at personal leadership, and it teaches the basics of public engagement and science communication, with a highlight on how to leverage traditional and non-traditional media, including social media, to increase your visibility. You'll all receive an invite, as I said, and we'll also announce it on social media. And you're more than welcome to share it with others so that we all can do our part in getting more women into research, which is ultimately what all of this is about.
Yeah. So we'll see you again on the 3rd, and please ask others to join as well. And some of you may have seen the video that we have watched together before that shows how all this started. But let's see it again, and there you will also get the link to the manifesto that you may be able to use. And really looking forward to see you again on the 3rd of June. Take care, and thanks for today.
All around the world, women are having university degrees at the postgraduate level, but less than 30% of the global researchers are women. In Africa, of the 97 top-ranked universities, only 21% have women as chancellors, while only 26% have women as registrars. Something needs to be done. We need to start our conversation on how to bring more women into research.
There is no country in the world that has reached gender parity yet.
When we do not have enough women in research, we miss out on the opportunity for having women reflect the challenges that exist.
When we miss women in research, we are missing perspectives of women in health, perspectives of women in education, how women think about technology. And that is important to note, because without these perspectives, it means we are missing out on interventions, on solutions that actually impact half of the population of the world.
50 women researchers across Africa gathered in Arusha in March this year. The discussion among these women resulted in creating a manifesto. And what a better place than to start by sharing it here with the 300 youth who are meeting for the YouLead Summit, discussing the future of education in Africa and why it matters.
Where I'd like us to begin is breaking the glass ceiling.
Speak up no matter what it takes. And here maybe we need to know that even when we are talking about glass ceiling, that's not the only challenge women face. They also suffer from sticky floors. So while you're struggling to heat up, there are also those who are struggling to keep you down. So we have to navigate both the glass ceiling and sticky floors.